Whoa! Whoa! Been a while since we did a late show, hasn't it? Woo! Woo! Oh, man. Who we got in the building? 15 watches so far. We got the Snowman. We got the Angry Black Man. Gavin St. Clair. The electrician known as 480. Woo! What's up, gentlemen? Like, share, subscribe. If you're watching, say hello. Oh, man, it's the lieutenant. It's the lieutenant. Joe, average brother. He says, whoo! What's with these new rappers? I don't know much about them until they get deleted. Facts, man, facts. I'm gonna I'm gonna tell y'all, man. For a lot of you who don't know or coming back to the channel, yes, Black Lion Security has been doing security for some rappers in the DMV. Oddly enough, we did a couple of places for, we linked up with a former police commissioner of Baltimore City, and we also linked up with a very fine jazz lounge. But we were bodyguarding or doing executive protection, the official and proper title. And everything went on without a hitch. He was safe. We got paid. Bada bang, bada boom. And this was Halloween. Later that night, which turned into the 1st of November, boom. As soon as I get up, you hear about Takeoff being shot and killed. You got the tutor known as Toya. Get your tongue tied in all the right ways. Giggity. And it's funny how many guys thanked us and how many other DMV rappers, DC, Maryland, Virginia rappers said, hey, we need y'all when we come to Maryland. I'm going to say this. Too many rappers cast pearls to the sty where the pigs lie. When you become a millionaire, things change. You are no longer the hood, quote unquote, nigga that you are. You're a target. You're a target. I've said it before in my last broadcast about this. Young men, the hood doesn't owe you anything, but in retrospect, you don't owe the hood shit. Why? Oh why? Are our best and brightest, most acclaimed, highest earners so addicted to this hood culture? Even Jesus Christ said, when I became a man, I put away my childish things. At some point, you're going to have to grow up. At some point, you're going to have to be an adult. And unfortunately, when you're around people playing dice, and like I've told you before, I have not known any dice games that are ending on a good note. Things are going to get frosty. Things are going to get frosty. And unfortunately for the young brother, his luck ran out. We got to take attention to a lot of things in this world, especially when it comes to safety, especially when it's, how do you say, executive protection. Your worth. Let's go look up his net worth. Okay? We got Google. He's worth 26 million. 26 million. Where's your goddamn protection detail? As a group, they're worth $80 million. Takeoff is worth, well, he was worth $26 million. The group is worth 80 million. If you want to get down to brass tacks, 26.6 million. But yet, you're right. You're right. They could have made their own casino if they love playing dice that damn much. But yet, a lot of people do not understand that when you take that money, that money becomes the super soldier serum. It does not just boost up what you are physically, it brings out what you are mentally. Shout out to our hosts. This is for BMT. BMT only for right now. We'll bring everybody else up on the panel in a few. I'll let my esteemed guest, introduce himself and tell you a bit of his background. But we were talking offline. Where was this guy's security? Where was his detail? Your group is worth 80 million. You just took 26.6 million out the group. You took out something that's even more valuable than your net worth. It's called your life. Your family is now grieving for something that could have been prevented. Most likely, yeah, I hate to use absolute sometimes, but yeah, yeah, that's for BMT. Shout out to the always faithful electrician 480. Somebody write this in the chat. Young man, never waste your time, your talent, or treasure. Woo! Yeah, true. I'm gonna I'm gonna tell you what's really difficult about this. Talented young brothers who make it should never ever have to die a grisly death. Shout out the angry man earlier. How the fuck do the OGs allow our most successful guys to be killed in the hood? How is that? How is that? But we got to think about this, right? Frankie Beverly could walk on that street chilling. Nobody's trying to shoot him. But as soon as you become a rapper, and because you believe these aggressive lyrics, you're a target. No way in hell am I going to skim out on my security. No way in hell. See, too many men do not understand the importance of their life, especially when you get that amount of money. You're now a brand, okay? You're now a brand. There's many of people who eat because of you. There's many people employed because of you. And then you have your boy with a gun. Come on now. Ladies and gentlemen, BMT. Probably getting set up. So, yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
First off, um, let me give a proper salute. I want to give a proper salute to the commander.
What's up?
That is his rank, and he's in charge of his bracket. I had to get, I had to get ready my whole setup from different servers, from different service firearms, Springfields, Tauruses, to Glocks. I wanted to do everything from the plate carrier.
Just to get it.
I wanted to do everything, even down to professionalism of how we carry ourselves.
Oh yeah.
Pants, clothing.
Just to get the audience a little bit of your background.
Like, aye. Hello. So my name is BMT. I have another name. I've been in the armed forces of the military, and I did that for at least 8 to 10 years. I served in 2 tours. I defended bases, politicians, generals, elected officials, men and women of different other various backgrounds. I left away from there, went into being a bodyguard, traveled around the world for a good portion of my life. Um, so it has become that of a passion of being a wolf. And this is something that is very serious. You can make an excellent, lucrative business. Or literally, if you don't want to go the business route, you can just go into that field. It is a renewable skill. There's armed and unarmed. There are different levels to the field, and it is a requirement. This field will never go out. Since there have been kings all the way to diplomats and presidents and businesses, you're going to always need to be secured. And I've been doing this for a long time. I've been counseling and teaching, and I've been doing instructor lessons as well as combatives with firearm, rifles, knives, um, you name it, all the way down to tactical driving. I do go into retirement. I would like to, but my fellow brother, um, officer and Colonel Faulkner, I was very proud to see him set up his own private agency. And this is something that the men need. This is something that the men need. This is a business that law enforcement will definitely be walking with you hand in hand. I won't dox myself. And as you can see, I am deputized and approved by that of the state and different other various states. Call me whatever you want, but understand this: you will call me officer whenever you see me. I have dealt with politicians as well as celebrities. I take my job very serious because my job is to protect life. And if it means so, and you are a threat to that, to destroy that of which is a threat. I was there when Brother Faulkner said, "Hey," I said, "Bro, you are definitely overqualified to do it." And it is a good business. And business is good. With the way masculinity is needed right now, and I will gladly go over any information needed. This right here, where you're seeing a lot of lucrative men that have money, but they skimp and get really cheap with that of security because they don't feel it's a necessity. But you yourself, as I told one of my clients, you are an asset. You are a brand. And if you value yourself, you don't skimp on your security. You don't skimp on your protection. You don't. Most of the higher frequency clients they hire ex-military. They don't hire thugs in the street. They don't hire some guy that, hey, I took one or two boxes. No, they hire trained professionals. They hire people that train every day. They deal with knives, pepper spray,
Yes, sir.
different objects. I'm sitting around right now, 9 firearms right now.
Yeah. A lot of people do not understand that there's a big responsibility when you're placed over the protection of one's life.
Yes.
Shout out to my boy Mike. He and I go way back 15 years in law enforcement together. And he'll tell you when we had an incident in the Northern District where we caught two drug dealers up to no damn good. How do we know? They had the gun underneath the driver's seat, the pack in the waistband. See what I mean? Be back on a domestic call. And people don't know how things can go from 0 to 100 very quickly in the protection field.
Yes.
Like I was, you know, doing some executive protection for some DMV rappers. And then when I wake up after the event, I'm looking at Takeoff, was shot and killed. And I'm looking, first thing in my mind, probably same as yours, BMT, most likely it was, where the fuck was this security detail? And please explain to the viewers and listeners of what a security detail consists of.
A security detail consists of that of an organized functional group or unit, most likely a unit, that will oversee that of the route, the location, what you call the post, which you have post orders and commands that are normally given to that of the head, like a commander or colonel, which we do go by a ranking structure in that of the organized forces. From there, we will make sure that all the exits are secure, vehicles are secure. We understand that of the parking lot. We also make sure that all personnel that is accounted for, that we know who who's there. There is no such thing as foreign security. If you are the post security, that is your AO, that is your spot. Until properly relieved by that of law enforcement, you don't leave the spot unless that or hey, the contract has been breached. There is nobody that comes in there with that of a foreign firearm, weapon, blade, knife. This, not allowed. Not allowed. Not allowed. What else? I mean, there are different things I can keep pulling out time and time and time again of different things that can do a lot of. Celebs got to stop using homeboy security. Yes, homeboy security carrying firearms. Colonel Faulkner would not allow that. Neither would I.
No, if
We don't.
if you're not trained sufficiently, and even now for the Padawan, he comes to me. He's armed. He's got his private detective, his security, and his carry permit. But guess who he's with? He's with me mostly, or with other people I trust will point with him. Like Mike for my company is one of my lieutenants. He's probably going to end up being higher than that because of his experience. We know each other like the back of each other's hand. I know what Mike is capable of doing. He knows what I'm capable of doing. We know each other's strengths and weaknesses. A lot of people do not want to admit this in the Black community. There's just some people who are better in the profession than others. There are people trained for certain professions, like yourself, Mike, and myself. And I like to put up common sense because, talk about using that superpower called common sense. You're absolutely 100% correct. Celebs gotta stop using homeboy security. Let's look at the brother 50 Cent. He gets ex-special forces, Navy SEALs, Green Berets, and pay them very handsomely to protect his cities. If you're worth 500 mil, 10, 50, or 100 mil better go into the personal protection. And too many times, young, up-and-coming rappers, yes, you might be able to get security that's priced to you, but it's better than nothing. And here's another thing that nobody talks about. If he had professionally trained security, off-duty police, executive protection agent, armed security, who knows how to de-escalate, that man would have been alive today because he would have just grabbed him and said, "Hey, sir, let's go." Yep. And we would have had one agent pulling him to the car, grabbing him by his shoulder and his neck and his waistband, while another agent is walking backwards and probably pulling out his weapon. Or just securing the scene. Sometimes you might have a guy who's so damn rich, "Sir, give me $1,000. Okay, I'm going to de-escalate the whole thing." There's no reason that things should have got that heated so quickly. I was up there on, shout out to Dennis Sperling's panel talking about this, and you could see a guy, and everybody knows a boxing pivot. When you're on the ball of your feet, you're pivoting, throwing that punch. Why did it have to come down to that? And I want you to break down for the viewers and listeners how that security detail could have prevented that.
Yes, sir. So the first weapon and tool that security have is voice of command. Use your words. Firm, conducting words. "Hey, what's going on? What's happening? All eyes are on you. Man, so-and-so about a dice game. I don't want to hear all that. Actually, this is over with. You guys need to lead the premise." I go over to the guy, my client, and say they're going to leave. For me to do my job effectively, that was instructed to me by Colonel Faulkner, they got to leave. But by default, my partner or my unit should already be on site with me already. You will never do a site by yourself. When you show up in numbers and you're organized and you're professional and you're telling them, hey, it's getting out of hand. If y'all cannot de-escalate it right now, then you need to leave the premise. Okay, you don't want to leave? Guess what? No, no, no. Because see, here's the thing about it. I get people saying it's about the drama. Our job is to take away that of the ignition from the cake, to cut it. And so you got to tackle the source, the person that's getting the most rah rah.
Yeah.
Why
And
you get why you getting upset? Why you getting angry? Calm
yeah,
down. Everybody's done that.
you got to de escalate shit.
What are you doing? Well, they did this and did that. Listen, man, how much are you worth? Why are you arguing with them? Come on, man. Let's go. Hey, we need to get you over there. No, no, no. I got it. No. We're the security. We're your security. We're telling you, for us to be effective, you need to come over here with us. You need to
That,
step away from them. Until we get this squared away, you don't need to be anywhere in the mix. Well, my family over there ain't got nothing to do with us. You're the person that we need to remove. We'll remove that of the VIP. After that, the commander is going to give us the orders. Hey, what do you want to do? What do you want us to do? Do you want them still here? Or do you want us to leave? If Colonel says, hey, I want them out of this bowling alley now, time for them to go. And we'll stop right there. Go ahead, Colonel.
oh, yeah. Mike was saying he was talking about his call because he's working.
I got secured a large episode and giving commands absolutely worked. It didn't hurt that we had a 925 on the duty and there was on the premise too. Yeah. Once the situation starts happening, hospital, whatever site it may be, and first thing I'm gonna do, radio. Colonel, are you on site? Yep, I'm on. I'm only a few minutes. I'm only like two right down the hallway. Yes. Hey,
See,
Colonel, we got a situation.
yeah. And you got to take command of the situation, just like BMT is the commander of his organization. I'm the commander of mine. And people say, why you call yourself the colonel? Because you're the highest ranking motherfucker there. And usually probably the most experienced. And, like Blood Boiling, another one of the faithfuls, quoted me just now, like Falcon said. And let's break this down. So we're giving you a lot of red pill. And we're probably going to be, we're not probably, we're definitely going to be in some black pill areas. So y'all need to like, share, subscribe, donate to the channel. And the reason why I said we're going to go black pill, because BMT, like myself, is a soldier, an officer, a gentleman, and a commander. Sometimes we're put in a position where we got to fuck your feelings. It's about being effective and efficient and maybe even ruthless.
That.
And when it comes down to this, women get upset when I talk about protection. It does not change when I'm talking to men. Like he said in my quote, the first rule of protection is obedience. If you cannot obey what the hell you pay me to do, how the fuck can I protect you? You're defeating the purpose. You'd be surprised with a good nightstick or an Espantoon, which I carry, a good pepper spray, but your words, your mere presence says a lot. If your uniform's right, if you look the part, if your clothes are not sloppily put upon you, a lot of people are not going to mess with you. If you carry yourself in a demeanor, sir, ma'am, loud and proud sometimes. I'm not the loudest guy, but you piss me off, you're going to hear my voice from the Grand Canyon back to Baltimore. You have to be confident in what you do. And that's another thing. But a lot of these guys who get their homeboys, yeah, that's my man's, he's a shooter. Everybody's a tough guy when you're the only motherfucker with the gun. But when other people bring their guns, oh, you notice your homeboy running before you, and he's supposed to be your protection detail. Like Mike said, training is so important. Apparently, the rapper who got killed was hit by his homeboy's gun when the shooting was, and he was shooting blindly. What's the first goddamn thing they teach you in the academy, Mike? What's the first thing they taught us in the academy? And he answered it. It takes consistency to shoot accurately, like Falk and I. We shoot hundreds tight circles. Do you know how many times you have to put into the range, folks, just to hit the damn paper from 25 yards? Some people can't even hit a piece of paper 25 yards. I want you to go into the firearms aspect on BMT. And what's the first rule of firearm safety?
First rule of firearm safety. Prior to that, I will use a firearm. It's clear. First thing, always check to make sure it's clear. As you can already see, right down here, I'm using a Taurus compact. Taurus compact. A lot of compacts get snuck into facilities, clubs, areas. Charles and I, Mike, have probably seen these 1,000 times. Is being able to, you got to first observe. First observe. Let me go ahead and put, this is a concealed carry. It's a concealed carry, soft, easy one. I'm going to give a demonstration. Usually, but nowadays, the ops, they do it differently now. They tuck it between the crotch, the groin, because they know people are just gonna feel right here. Be lazy. Observation. You check. This is why we always take the front, pull close. Observation, observation. You're always gonna say, hey, stop. Do you have a firearm? No. Okay, search. Now when it comes to firearm safety, never point your firearm at anybody. I'm just doing a demonstration for YouTube. Never point it. You never draw unless you never draw unless you plan on destroying the target. That is one of the main rules straight across the board. You can find that in most TMCs, most technical manuals, or in most books for that of the Rifle Association, as well as fire and firearm safety courses. So you will never ever draw or have your finger in that of the sweet spot. You will never do that.
In the police department, we call that touch point. Your hand, your finger, like Mike said, touch point. Trigger finger away, holster slowly. Notice, I want you to put it back to the screen for a second. Notice where his finger is. It's not in the goddamn trigger well. Notice it's on touch point. Okay? Never put your damn finger in the trigger guard. I want people to write this down and notice why I have for educational purposes, in case people be like, oh my God, no, we're educating people. This video could probably save someone's life. And notice, this is what happens a lot for demonstration purposes. While he's pulling his weapon, like simulate pulling a weapon out, a lot of people will grip into the trigger weld. Boom. It takes a
here is a no. Control. It's control.
And notice. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No. So whenever it comes to that, and I'm going to use that of the common sense. Most unskilled people will pull. The hand is in the finger. What's most likely happen? You got to understand a lot of these triggers. You have a double right here, so they actually have to pull. with strength. Y'all heard that click? Do you want to explain about that? About that trigger right there?
Yeah, that's trigger for most semi-autos. Like, well, I won't say most, but some. For example, like a Glock. And I can't even see what brand is that.
This is the Taurus. This is
the Taurus. And definitely with a Glock, because people say Glocks don't have safeties. That's a lie. Glock has 3 safeties. It has the trigger safety, which is that second trigger. If you do not engage that second trigger, it will not fire. It has a firing pin safety. You see that firing pin right there? That little needle that's sticking out, that's the firing pin. And it also has a drop safety. Those are the 3 safeties of a Glock. They beat that shit into your head at the academy early. Notice, he didn't have his finger or the trigger wheel. He was what we call touch point. His finger is at the slide, high and away from the slide. And when he reholsters, notice the trigger finger is going to be pulled back and away, and he's going to slowly reholster. Just like so. This takes time and discipline. And a lot of people do not understand, especially when it comes to personal protection and executive protection. The first thing you need to do is to be aware of your surroundings. Environmental safety. If I come, and this is how quick things could go. When I give you the command of threat, yes, we already know, just for people who are just coming in, the gun is actually unloaded. This is a training scenario to show you how fast things could go. On the command of threat, he's going to pull from the holster. He's going to engage, cover, scan, and slowly holster the gun. Ready, BMT?
Ready, sir.
Threat. That's exactly how fast things can go in not only a personal protection scenario, but also an executive protection scenario. We're going to do it from the side. From the command of threat, he will engage the threat. Then he's going to cover, scan, and holster slowly. Ready, BMT?
Ready, sir.
Threat. See how fast that went? Think about that. I want you to really think about that. And that situation that Takeoff was in, and his homeboy or whoever the hell was supposed to be the security was not cognizant of what muzzle discipline that he lacked. When where the situation may not have been a deadly force situation
at all.
I want you to realize this. That situation may not have been a deadly force situation. But as soon as somebody throws a punch, people want to bring guns into play. There's an old saying, do not pull that gun out unless you are damn sure you know you're going to be ready to use it. In anything in your fire, in your line of sight, you're ready to kill, maim, or destroy.
Now, Commander,
yes,
I know some people were looking at it and notice as I give Charles that honor and respect as commander, but this is his pose of teaching. A lot of people are asking, BMT, I never saw you fully pull up the gun. A lot of these situations are less than 10 seconds.
Less than that. Jesus Christ.
And the thing about it is, I can promise you, if you would have asked Charles, myself, Mike, or anyone who has been in these situations, the majority of these guys are not even properly aiming.
Nope.
Now me, when I did mine, but I'm putting on my belt, I'm putting on one of my belts right now. I actually went from that of the Western pull and up. Not a lot of people are trained to do that.
Mm-hmm.
There are some who actually will punch out and aim, or they have Weaver, and I think this should be the isosceles, correct?
Yes, the isosceles.
So like I said, I want to make sure. I want you to understand these are stuff we talk about in courses.
Yep.
So you're gonna have where some draw and punch out. If you notice on a lot of videos, you see a lot of officers and deputies and agents. They always punch out. You have it with those who are trained in certain defense of close quarters. They will most likely Western style, hand up for defense. Bam, 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 bam. My arm, wherever it's going, and it's already looking. That's why, if you notice, when you I'm pointing, I know exactly where it's going.
Yep. And I want you to take a key note. Put your arm in that L again.
Yes, sir.
Notice when you're doing close protection, sometimes you got to step in front of that guy, push off, and then boom, 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 boom. Because guess what? You may be walking, there may be some crazed or angry person, a crazed fan, you don't know. And guess what? You got to push off to that person and engage. Even if you do not fire, you're at least in a position to defend your client and yourself.
Get back. Get back. Yo, you heard me. Sir, ma'am, get back. Get back.
And this is
CO.
Yep. And this is very important for people who never had the militaristic training that we have, who never been in the real life scenarios we have been. I want you to think about this. Look how close then President Reagan was when he was shot to the assailant. Look how close he was. And think about this. When that assailant was hit, a Secret Service officer actually jumped in front of him for taking more shots.
Like, share, subscribe.
You getting
Like, share,
yeah, thank you for that, Mama. I got to call him commander because he commands his own post as well. And you're getting an education today. See, notice when we talk about here in the Black Manosphere, we don't just talk about relationships. We talk about how to prolong life. The life you save may be your own. So I want you to talk about this. And I'm gonna make a quote to this, to your boy. He said, I'm coming from a perspective of the company you keep. Takeoff had the wrong company, which is facts. Because if somebody loved me, they wouldn't let me go aimlessly into a bowling. Like, nigga, you worth 26 mil, almost $30 million. Why are you being in hood places? The hood don't owe you shit. And you don't owe the hood shit. If these rappers or famous people really want to help the hood, why don't you build a couple of franchises and hire the young people? Why don't you build learning institutions and educate the young people? Put people to work. Don't just flash around your money. Think about it. Angry Man said it best. How you gonna shoot a dude who comes back to the hood to deliver food to families? How? It makes no sense the level of hatred we have as a people for each other. And there's times when, guess what? You never know. BMT might come to Baltimore or Maryland to work with me. I might go down to where he is. You got to be able to know that you're sufficiently trained to handle a situation. And the reason why, and BMT will tell you with his command, the first thing I'm gonna check is to see how you speak to people.
Right.
Am I lying?
Nope, that is correct, Commander. How you talk to people, how you conduct yourself can definitely sway a situation to from going from 0 to 100. Heck, majority of situations that were volatile where guns were already drawn, I've talked it down by just using a voice of command. Where I'm not talking or belittling the man. I'm not being disgruntled or angry, but speaking from an authoritative position. And I say, hey, you guys, doesn't have to go this way. You guys can go home. Nobody's losing nothing. Nobody's being disrespected. Yeah, yeah. You're
Yep.
right, bro. You're
You
right.
know, one of the smartest things, my boy, shout out to my boy Ali. His fiance said it best. Always leave a man with his dignity.
Yes.
That's a very wise woman. Very wise woman. Always leave. See, this is, but they don't hear this shit though, do they, BMT? They don't hear
No,
the education. They don't hear us giving women credit, right?
no, they don't.
You know, that lady, that woman said, always leave a man with his dignity. Rule number one, when you're engaging folks, leave that man with his dignity. You know what? If I was in that situation and I was the guy with the money, you know what I would have done? I'd have paid for a round of drinks for everybody to calm the situation down. Once again, we're going to have to be able to speak to people. We're going to have decorum, some class. And as you can see there, BMT has his vest and his vest carrier, which is his plate carrier, which is the vest. As you can see, there's a back and there's a front plate. And on the cover of the plate, you see the Velcro and it states security. They can say protection agent, enforcement officer, private detective. Notice the badge. Notice the actual duty belt. These are parts of the tools of the trade. Your duty belt usually is going to consist of one, your holster. And if you're going to get into this business, ladies and gentlemen, buy a level 3 holster. You're probably going to buy several holsters. In several holsters, the level 3, for example, when we had the Halloween party Saturday, my Padawan has a level 2. I have a level 3. You are not allowed to work in my company, and I'm pretty sure the same reasoning is in BMT's and his command. You are not allowed to work for us if you don't have at least a level 2, especially when you're working places like lounges, parties, or major events. So no one can get access to your weapon but you. Well, gun. NRA doesn't want you to say weapon.
Correct. Correct.
Mike actually agrees with you. He says, when I clear the corners, I tell them, you already know what time it is. Yes, you have to be commanding. Even if you're a normal guy, sometimes you, and a normal, nice guy, sometimes you can be professional, but sometimes you just can't be nice. Like, sir, I've asked you many a times, get off the corner. And as you can see, notice with his demeanor, he doesn't have his hands in his pockets. He doesn't have he has his hands usually in front so he can take on oncoming punches, kicks, or whatever. Even if he gets cut with a knife, he can still block. Sometimes, and a lot of times in armed security and law enforcement, we have what's called the interview stance, where your hands are 45 degrees up and you can talk. So if somebody, you can push them back, your hands are always ready. A lot of times I'll see officers with their hands in their pocket. I'm like, what will happen if you fall? What will happen if somebody push you to the ground? You have no way to protect yourself. You have no way to counter what's coming for you because people don't understand seconds count. Each second matters. And if you see, look at his vest one more time. You can see the plate. They're going to be steel, ceramic, and sometimes it's going to be steel that's covered in ceramic. Usually you'll have a trauma plate. You're right, Mike. Bleeds your body. As you can see, ceramic wrapped in steel. What's that, a level 3A?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. So strong. I'm gonna show y'all right now why this plate right here. This will save you. This
Yes.
will save you. Somebody in the clubs, parking lots. Somebody comes up to you with a blade. Blades have gotten so many people. Blades have gotten so many people. But I can promise you, it's going to be harder to get through this. Getting cut on your arm, hey, I get that. I understand that.
But I mean, if they're not getting to break your vein, you're still in the fight.
You're still in the fight.
Even if they get it, you're gonna have to learn how to. You're gonna have to sometimes learn how to actually, you know, put a tourniquet on yourself and keep fighting. You're gonna have to have the will to fight. Now, when we break down the scenario of the incident, guess what happens? He had nobody who was properly trained. He had nobody who was properly trained in firearm safety, first aid, no protocols of what happens if gunfire occurs. Nothing. He was literally left on an island. He was literally left on an island. All him and his uncle were left on an island. You had a bunch of undisciplined people with guns protecting you in a place you shouldn't have been in the first place. And I've said this before. The greatest reversal is to never get put in the hold or situation in the first damn place. Being forewarned is to be forearmed. Think about it. If BMT and his command had a detail, first and foremost, your client says, I want to go to the hood store. I want to go to the hood Foot Locker or the hood downtown locker room to buy some shoes so I could be seen. What would you say to him?
No, sir. No, sir. That is a high volatile, high risk area. No.
But man, I want the people to see me. You know, I want to tell them I'm fresh from the hood.
No, sir. No, sir. That puts you, yourself, myself, as well as my team in harm's way. No, we decline that.
So, where would you take your client if he wanted to go get some food or anything like that?
A safe, stable environment, one that we can properly secure, properly know the entrances and exits, one that is well lit. We can actually have a functional entrance and exit that is less chaotic, that my team can function properly. You do not move, we do not budge from that of a high ground area.
Exactly. So, when you're detailed, what's the first thing you usually tell the client's entourage?
Go ahead, sir.
When on the detail,
Yes, sir.
what do you usually tell the entourage, his boys, who's usually with him?
I need to know the names. I need to know the names. I need y'all to empty out your pockets. I need y'all to if you have any firearms or anything on you That is not allowed anywhere around that of the VIP or the client or the family. Also, along with that, if they get into any situational issue or problem, they are themselves removed immediately because they are not my prerogative. My VIP is the prerogative.
Exactly. And I'm gonna say this to your boy. He said Charles Faulkner Jr. and BMT, getting that type of protective gear is not affordable for the average black person. What would you say to that?
It actually is. You have military surplus depot stores. Let me make sure I tell you that again. Military surplus depot stores that sell plate carriers, that sell MK3 pepper spray,
Mm-hmm.
that sell batons, stun guns, sell clubs, all that of functional security items from belts, pouches, gloves, all that is sold at military surplus depot stores.
Yes. In Baltimore, we have a few of those stores. We have the Cop Shop on Baltimore Street. We have H&H Camping and Military Surplus on Harper Road. We also have Howard Uniform, which is where a lot of the Baltimore police and the sheriff department gets their uniforms. That has a lot of this gear. I was supposed to get my composite knuckle gloves, but I can't find them because I'm an extra large with these dick beaters. But you can, and then on top of that, you can find a good damn level 3 Safari Land holster on eBay and Amazon for $125. And Safari Land is a damn good brand when it comes to securing your weapon properly. Let me see. LAP SWAT 1, thank you for the $10 super chat. He says, Commander, do you have any plans to teach your staff a basic combat life saving course for wound care? Also, do you teach staff the importance of the low ready position? Yes, I can. I will actually. I'm actually starting to teach a lot of things, and I'm going to go into effect probably this month or next month. Right now, I'm getting ready for a big move, so hey, we're going to be teaching a lot of things when it comes to how to protect yourself, how to put a tourniquet on yourself, how to put a tourniquet on someone else, what should be in your med bag. Since we're on this subject, everybody who drives, please carry some type of first aid med bag with you. You should be having a blanket, a blanket or two, in case you live in one of those cities that snow falls heavy and you're stuck, so you can keep your body warm. Have some water in your vehicles, have some food that will keep you nourished, have a medical bag. If you have something, if you're a person who needs insulin or something like that, don't be afraid to have one of those cooler boxes to store it because you'll never know when you need it. If you have asthma, for God's sakes, carry a pump with you and give a pump somewhere to wherever you work, or if your child's in school, make sure those people can get to that pump to that child, and make sure your friends can save you. It's the little things, man. But go ahead, BMC.
Yes, that is a thing that you definitely I encourage a lot of men to learn is CLS training, CPR. That is something that you can go to the nearest fire department and they can teach you. It does not hurt. I get it. Some guys just get jumper cables and they'll get stuff for the car, but they don't get stuff just in case for the number one uh, person or VIP yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of club I can charge extra, or my people we cost extra. It's because that of we know how to administer first health care. What I mean by that, we dealt with people with seizures, heart attack, gunshot, stab wounds. We dealt with a whole plethora. of injuries. Whereas to people say, whoa, whoa, grab them, grab them, grab them. No. Listen, JT, go to the truck. I should have one or two extra t-shirts. Bring me one t-shirt, rip it up. Girls, back, go get hot water. Go get me a rag. You, I need your belt. Go get it. Do you have an extra belt? Give me that belt. We got to go ahead and start taking care of this right now. If we move him, he's going to die. A lot of people panic and freak out because they properly are not trained. They're not trained in how to deal with that of a wound. So they'll freak out and grab the person and pick them up and actually cause internal damage because because either the knife or the bullet has already ruptured something inside and you're maneuvering them more and more versus that of somebody who says, first thing anybody with CLS training is going to tell you to do, Charles and I will both tell you, put them down.
Yep, stabilize them first.
Stop. I can promise right now you're gonna have a lot of women screaming, ah, 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 oh my God, my boy, that's my boy, that's my baby. Ma'am. Commander Faulkner.
Yes, sir.
I got you. Back up. Back up. Back up. Ma'am, back up. He has to watch my back. He has to keep people off. People will be hysterical. People will try to grab the person. They'll try to touch them. Sometimes they'll even touch the wound.
Mm-hmm.
They'll put cameras all in there. Hey, dog, how do you feel? What's going on? Do you want to talk to your baby mama? Do you want to talk to your brother? Tell us who got you. Listen.
Yep.
Stop. Focus on me. Focus on Charles. What's your name? Do you know who you are? Do you know where you are? We have to, right now, the focus is life and keeping that person stabilized. This is where your training comes into play. This is where you have it where one side, if they're trained properly, will be watching and covering you, while the other person is actually providing a parameter of protection for you.
And for those of you who don't know what he's talking about, you're going to have that parameter. You have the inner perimeter, you have the outer perimeter. The team leader is usually going to be the closest person to the principal or client. So if you hear us use certain phrases like principal, protectee, or client, it means the same thing. The team leader is going to be with him. The team leader is usually going to be the most experienced, and you kind of want them to be. Think of them as the Hokage of the group. Yeah, they're going to be the strongest, the most capable. You're going to have a point man who's going to walk a few feet ahead. It's his job to deal with anything coming straight ahead because that team leader is going to be right beside that client. He's going to divert him out of the situation. You're going to have two guys usually if you're doing a 5-man diamond point formation. You're going to have two guys at the sides. You're going to have a rear man. That rear man is going to be looking back. You're going to see, and trust me, I'm going to tell you, anybody who ever talked to a police officer, Mike can tell you, BMT will tell you. Anybody who's ever had to do protective service like police, armed security, executive protection, we have the worst manners in this world. We're looking everywhere. Once in a while, we'll look back in your eyes while we're talking to you. We're scanning. Here's the difference between a lot of military units and executive protection and police units. You're going to be trained to stay there because if, let's say, that point man is engaging somebody, BMT is going to be the team leader. Let's say I'm the point man, he's the team leader. His job is to get that protectee the fuck out of Dodge, even if that means leaving me. I'm probably that point man, and that rear man is probably going to have extra magazines just so he could accomplish that mission. It takes a lot of nerve to do this shit. Okay, it takes a lot of nerve.
It does. It does.
Sometimes the point man will often end the rear man, because guess what? When he's taking the guy offline, or off the X, as they say, out the line of fire, that rear man becomes who? The point man. So usually your end guys are going to be carrying what? Long guns, or some type of gun that can reach out and touch you. Something that can lay down good enough lead or fire. So a lot of times in these protective agent situations, or executive protection, we'll take a guy like 50 Cent. 50 Cent, we all know he's been shot more times than most Civil War veterans. So we'll have a guy like 50 Cent. He's not going to have just regular dumb bar security. He's going to get ex-military, ex-police, ex-SWAT, ex-special forces. As you can see, he's taking a knee. Rifles at the ready. You know, he can be somewhere located. He can be standing. He could be kneeling. You know, he's going to come and shoulder the weapon. As soon as I give the command of threat, he's going to shoulder the weapon, and he's going to engage the target. Ready, BMT?
Ready, Commander.
Threat. All right. Port arms. See? Because that's usually how you're going to be when you have that rifle on that detail. You'll see, if you ever notice, I wish I had my laptop, but my son has it. If I could share some videos like the SI and other people like Brian Rogers, they'll show you. You have to be vigilant with your protection. Notice how he's standing erect, scanning. Wherever his eyes go, the rifle goes. Threat. See?
Stop! Get back!
And sometimes you gotta be gone. Like, you make sure, and then here's another thing that people recover. Here's another thing that people don't also notice. You're gonna have to walk backwards sometimes and covering your client into the vehicle. Because one, when you have an incident, your body is covering your client. Let's say that picture that he has on the wall is his client. He's going to walk back slowly to his client, make sure he covers the client's body. If there's a threat, guess what he's going to do? Threat.
Get back! Stay back! Y'all got client? On me? On me? On me?
Exactly. Making sure that he has, touch and range of the client. He's going to give the client over to the personnel of the protection detail. And you're right, beastly nerd. Evasion is the goal. The goal is not to be in a shootout. The goal is not to be in the ending of heat. Your goal is to get the fuck out of there in the most efficient and effective way possible. Recover. And what we're showing you is something that a lot of people, especially in the Black community, are not privy to. Because when you have these details, guess what? They can be some of the most boring things in the world, right, BMT?
Yes, sir.
And when you're bored, guess what happens? Complacency comes upon you.
Yes, sir.
So sometimes you have to be very diligent and not treat it like, okay, yes, let your experience guide you, but also be prepared for the unexpected. Excuse me for a minute, BNT. Give them a talk and let them know what else goes on in the detail.
Roger that. So, so when it comes to that, we have a lot of people have the misconception that security, properly trained security agencies, are only focus is that of attack or just aggression. Not true. We do a whole plethora of things. We deal with that of CLS. We deal with that of properly giving out information. Information is very, very, very important. Information can actually stop that of a situation from happening. Like literally, when I say that of a situation from happening, knowing something and properly being able to have the discussion. No, 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 he did this, he did that. Sir, let me properly explain that of the situation. Oh, my bad, homie. It's okay. It's okay. You'll have people who will try to gaslight you. You gonna let them talk to you like that, security? You gonna let them disrespect you? Having a demeanor and decorum. Being able to have respect and obedience. Yes, sir. No, sir. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Roger that. Are very important. Like these kind of things will take you and keep you and actually expand that of your horizon. Train how you fight. I know a lot of people saw me when I got into that ready position. That's not an easy position to hold. A lot of people can only hold that position for, I would say, 10 seconds. But when you actually properly train, this is where it calls when you're actually doing your squats, your push ups, your sit ups. You're actually putting on your gear and actually make sure your gear is comfortable. So that way you're actually used to it when you're walking around. See, this gear, it sounds easy at first, but then when you start putting in an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, I gotta take this gear off, man. It's too much. It's hot. No, keep it on. If you gotta take it off, time for you to go home. Because see, you're not properly trained and adequate enough to understand that that is to protect you. You know, people have taken their plates out of their vests, and then something happened. Now they're afraid to actually engage in that of the situation because then they took out that of their protection. Not cleaning your firearm, your service rifle or firearm, not cleaning it, having gun jams, and not properly oiled, maintained. A lot of these guys get these firearms and these women, throw them in the closet. Never take care of it, never wipe it down, knowing that it's in, even if it's in a good environment, it's going to still build up oxidation because there's moisture in the air. Having conversations with that of the customer and clientele. Black men, I got to be honest with you. And I have to tell this to a lot of my sons, my brothers, the people I train. Don't let that of your little head getting in the way of business. You don't have to know. That is one of the quickest ways that we may have to terminate you. Because now you've been compromised. Your hindsight of what you're doing will be compromised. how you carry yourself, how you eat, sleep. Yes, you need to have those things squared away. When you have it where I heard somebody said Jay Prince was supposed to have security. I know a good proportion of security or groups they don't properly hire because they want to cut corners. They want to be cheap. Charles will give them one price, but they'll try to talk it down. They'll say, well, I got a guy that can carry a gun. Is he licensed? Is he insured? No, like these are things you got to know. Firing a service pistol, the police will confiscate it because it is that of evidence used in the trial. This is why I tell a lot of men, mainly I'm talking to black men. But you got to want this, brothers. You got to want it. And see, the thing about it is, the brother Takeoff, I got to be honest, the man would probably be alive today if he had the proper security that had taught him, hey, if those guys are acting out the certain way that they're acting, they need to go. We've been doing this for years. I hear a lot of men talk about, hey, what happened to the masculinity? Well, you got to maneuver yourself in positions to where that of your situation shines. Be very mindful of people who say they're going to the latest club, hook around, doing X, Y, and Z, but then they start wondering, wait a second, I'm out here running with a certain particular group that doesn't care about my education, my background, my stability, my family. Why are you there? Why? What purpose did it serve you? And see, that's an issue that a lot of men are having. They're getting involved in situations that vicariously don't need them. It don't. When you have a man like Charles speak with authoritative position, that gets pushed back. Where are we going with this, gentlemen? Springfield? Taurus? And listen, you don't have to be rich. You don't have to. Glock. You get a firearm, learn your firearm. You get a firearm, you need to learn it. You need to understand how it works. You need to understand how to properly clean it. You're having it where you're going to see more men that are going to perish and die. I tell y'all this right now because the world is not going to be empathetic for you messing up. I don't know what to tell you, man. Because they're looking for more of y'all to go into the machine and die. We have to start making a stand, brothers. We have to start actually understanding that I've had it where women have tried to stab me and shoot me. I've had it where as to men, rather than take an honorable L, rather go get a gun. Y'all starting to become like the women. Multi-million-dollar men playing dice with men who don't have shit to lose. What do you want, black men? Nobody's going to feel sorry for you. And I know y'all say, well, BNT, are you attacking black men? No, I'm trying to let y'all know, man, like in this line of field, either you're going to be holistically truthful to yourself and say, hey, I want to better myself. I want to do X, Y, and Z. But how is this maneuvering you to a higher position of authority? I used to wonder when it came to the Takeoff situation, my God, what could we have done differently? And you got to understand that some of these men do not care. I have tried to talk to men and had men tell me, I don't care if I die. What is it that you men want? Go get a badge so that way you can get a gun and get access to poom poom. Women use men. Charles can tell you that. Mike can tell you that. Women will get close to a man with an authoritative position. I'm going to tell you right now. I can show y'all the videos of how many women will try to seduce you so that way they can get access to bringing firearms, knives, guns, anything that they can. And they also have it where men will talk to them to use them to get past you. This is why Commander Charles was saying you guys need to be obedient and disciplined. You need to be watchful. You need to pay attention. Mindful of your surroundings. It's not hard. I talked to my men. One man, I had to fire him because he was sneaking contraband of LLC into that of my facility. I said, what are you doing there? Well, I just want to have fun. So they know to go through you to get anything in, snuggled in. I don't know what else to tell you, brothers. And these things are affordable. You just got to know how to properly price your money. Takeoff and Quavo. Quavo's going to have to live with that. He got his own relative killed. And he's not the first one. Black men, please move safely and more accordingly. Officer Charles. In my line of doing this, I've been shot at 47 times. I've been stabbed 8 times. Pepper sprayed 4 times. And it wasn't that I was careless. It was that of people wanting to get involved with situations that are not their own. Black boys aren't used to authoritative black men. I would want to tell you this. They don't see enough. I can't tell how many young men or older men I have had to get into it about because they believed that they didn't have to listen to nobody. I can't be your daddy, but I can train you and talk to you. I would definitely tell a lot of you men, do not give your presence of civility and patriarchy away for free. I'm a professional, but I know how to check a woman when she get out of line. I don't know, black men. I shake my head and I'm frustrated and tired because more and more of y'all are expected to that possibly die. That's all I gotta say. Commander, I thank you for allowing me to come here and teach an amazing, blessed audience.
It's always a pleasure to have you here. We got to do another one like it because I think everybody, if you want BMT and myself to do another part two of this, when it comes to protection, security, and arts, give us a woo in the chat and we'll come back as popular demand.
Right.
Always pleasure. Many wishes and stay safe with you and your detail and your command. Thank you for everybody who's donated. AB, thank you. George, thank you. Woo! And we out.
Woo!
Woo!